All right. Brendan Taylor here, True School Sports. I'm with the man himself. It's been a long time, but he's back where he belongs here on True School Sports. What's going on, Rick?
Brendan, glad to have you back. I see you remembered my phone number. I don't know if I should be happy or be bragging or complaining that you remembered my phone number, but here I am tonight on the untouchable True School Sports.
There you go. We're back.
Did I say
Back.
it better? Wait, did I say it better than Riddick Bowe?
You did. You did say better than Riddick Bowe. So at least you got that going for you.
That's right. That's right.
This is what I've seen you kind of going, making your media rounds on all the other channels. I'm like, we got to bring Rick back to where like it started, because I was like one of the first people to interview you on YouTube.
Yes, yes, you were. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, you were. Yeah, and now it's. I'll tell you something startling. You ready?
Go
I
ahead.
did 27 interviews in the month of January alone.
Damn.
Yeah, and that was a lot of the Freeway Rick Ross thing too.
Yeah, I saw a couple of them. I saw the one you did, I think, with ITR Boxing. I watched that one. I watched a couple of them.
There was a lot of it to do with Freeway, but I was on 27 podcasts. One day I was on 3, and I was trying to get some work done, and the guy, the PR guy, calls me up and he says, "Hey, we got another podcast to go yet." I said, "Maybe Freeway does, but I got business at that new here." Looking for fighters and sparring partners, all the things that I do every day. So, but Rick Freeway's a great guy. Love working with him. He's a real gentleman. I have nothing negative to say about Freeway. This one guy asked his live. Rick Glaser knows the boxing game. Oh, very nice. Thank you,
Yeah,
Paul.
shout out to Paul. So Rick, I know you mentioned Freeway. Like, what have you been up to the last year or so? Like,
I went to Dubai in March. My wife and I went for 12 days. We went for the 2 Probellum shows, the 18th and 19th of March. They were, Sonny Edwards won in a really good fight. Regis Prograis knocked out Tyrone McKenna.
I saw that fight. Yeah,
it was a really good knockout. Just doing business like I always do. Just fending off the haters. But,
you got a lot of them.
Oh my God, do I ever? I mean, they're all over the place. My wife's a mail order bride. She was born in America, lived in the same neighborhood. She's a mail order bride. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's just some of the shit people say. It's like I can't even believe it. It's like, where do they come up with this stuff from?
I don't know. Maybe they're just angry and they can't see straight, so they're just conjuring up stories. Who knows?
You know what? It's sad, but I mean, there's a lot of haters out there. The difference between the haters and myself, people say, "Oh, I hate this, I hate Hal Heyman." No, I just tell the truth. He's all the things that he's done wrong against. I call it crimes against boxing. I mean, somebody said to me, "Well, you don't abuse Arum." I abuse Arum all the time. When Undisputed all the time. When he does something wrong, I abuse Arum too. Listen, there's no, I'm an equal opportunity provider. And if it's Don King, it doesn't matter who it is. If something's wrong, I will say so. That's just how I am. I'm a boxing purist, and I want what's best for the sport, which is the best for the fans.
Yeah,
that's all there is to it, and that's not asking. It's not asking too much. That's for sure.
Did you used to manage a fighter named Vincent Arroyo? Apparently,
I was actually his promoter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was actually his promoter. Did you ever hear the great Vincent Arroyo story?
I have not heard of the Vincent Arroyo story, so you have to put me on game.
Okay, Vincent Arroyo was undefeated. We put him in with Mike Dallas, and at the day of the fight, I was sitting there having lunch with the manager and the trainer. He says, "If I lose tonight, I'm not paying you guys." Well, he lost intentionally, so he didn't have to pay him, this nitwit. And I mean, he did. He lost. He admitted to me later on he lost intentionally. I called him out on it, and he admitted it because he didn't want to pay anybody. But just he was like, and then he knocked out a whole bunch of really good fighters. Undefeated Jeremy Bryan. He beat that Hector Sanchez. He beat Willie Nelson.
Did he really?
wait, and Vincent was 140 and Nelson was like 150 that night. You know, it was
Damn.
a 47 pounder versus a 40, and Vincent knocked him down 3 times and won a decision. Vincent could have been a world champion. He was sick in the head, and I'm not talking out of school. He just was he's just that kind of guy. I mean, he had the right people around him. He had Steve Nelson, who was Hasim Rahman at the time. Hasim Rahman was world champ. He was the manager. I promoted the kid. Ricky Diaz, a great trainer from Buffalo, who taught Juan De Leon, who went on to train Joe Macy and Morris Walk, and a bunch of guys, and two world champions, little guys from Puerto Rico. That Albert Machado.
Alberto Machado, yeah.
Yeah, and that 108-pound champ, the name escapes me.
Jonathan Gonzalez?
No. That,
you mean back in the day? You mean
no. This was like 2 years ago. He was champ. He fought for De La Hoya.
Oh, Angel Costa. Was it Angel Costa?
Yeah, yep. He was the manager and co-manager of those two fighters and the trainer of those two fighters. So he was a good trainer. So Vincent had all the right people around him. He was just. He won those fights on ES. He won those fights on HBO International and 2 on Showtime on the Showbox series, and he was. I mean, people wanted to see him and everything else. Then, the trainer comes to me, and the trainer has some money. Is Rick Diaz, and he said to me, "Listen." He says, "You and Vincent don't get along." He says, "Can I?" He says, "Can I buy you out?" And Vincent wants to move out. I says, "No problem." I didn't. The guy was weird, and I says, "Just give you the money that I got into him." It was like $3,350. He goes and gives me the $3,350. I tell him that Vincent has to sign new paperwork with you. I signed the paperwork I got over to him, but he's got to sign new paperwork. And Vincent called me up and thanked me. Okay. The next thing I know is he defrauds Ricky Diaz. So now I'm the last rights holder. I got to go sue him with Ricky Diaz. And we got a TRO against him. He couldn't box for like 2.5 years. So he kept dragging it out in court and stuff like that. Finally, the TRO was lifted, and Ricky knew he didn't want to fight anymore. And I knew he didn't want to fight anymore. So, he just was. He was in a wasteland. Hasn't fought in 11 years now. So last fought in September of 2011.
Sounds like a just a crazy story of carnage and destruction and just
he destroyed himself.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
How about this? He called up Top Rank and Floyd Mayweather's company, and each of them respectively, he's demanding $150,000 signing bonus. If he was worth $150,000, I wouldn't have sold him for $3,350, which was the money that I got owed just to get away from the guy. Yeah, that was delusional and like sick in the head, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Rick, we have a lot to catch up on, so I wanted to just kind of start from the beginning of this month. We had the big fight, the massive fight with Canelo and Bivol. What did you make of it? And what did you make of the fight?
He bit off more than he can chew. The difference in the fight, everybody says it was the size. It was not the size.
No.
It was the footwork of Bivol and being able to get out of the way when he wanted to. That was the difference. Everybody's talking about size. The size had nothing to do with it. Okay, it was that Bivol got out of the way when he had to, and when he needed to, and he held on when he had to and needed to. He fought when he wanted to. He controlled the fight. I mean, what can you say?
Yeah.
So it wasn't size. Did he bite off more than he could chew because he was in a high weight class? Well, yeah, he did, but he didn't lose because the other guy was bigger.
Yeah, okay. I think the feints, the feints of Bivol, the different array of feints that he has,
the footwork threw him way up. You could tell he did not get appropriate sparring for the fight. They won't. They don't do the right thing there at Eddie Reynoso. Listen. Ryan Garcia left him now. Frank Sanchez left him. He's had 3 losers in a row. they're not getting the right sparring partners.
Have you ever dealt with the Reynosos? Like, because I know you supply sparring partners. Have you ever dealt with them?
I attempted to, and could I use the word? It was a clusterfuck.
Yeah, you can use it wherever you want. Go ahead.
No, it was a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
Here's one thing I won't do. Okay, I've been doing the sparring partner thing now since 1992. I started in the business in 91. That's 30 years of supplying sparring partners to Costa Zoo, to Lennox Lewis, the list goes, Hasim Rock, the list goes on and on.
It's the who's who.
The who's who, right? Now, these guys who are in the gym who need sparring partners, okay, call me, but they're telling me who they, no, that's not the right guy. I wouldn't be mentioning him to you if it wasn't the right guy, schmuck. You know what I'm saying? I know this is my business. Well, he says, well, I don't like the way, one guy says to me, I don't like the way he fights. He don't spar like he fights. When he spars, he walks forward if you ask him to. When he fights, he moves around. Okay? People that are sparring partners don't necessarily box and spar the same way. Okay? It's just they don't. You ask them to come forward, they come forward. It's very simple. When you're paying somebody, you're in charge. So you tell them, I would tell them, listen, you go in there, you need to walk forward and put the heat on. I don't want to hear you're moving from the left to the right, to the right to the left, and you're backing up. Go forward. That's what you're looking for. So I've put guys in camps like that, and I use them again and again because that's what they do. Okay, now you remember something. When I started with sparring partners in 1992, people were using guys 15 and 15 and 12 and 18 and 20 and 25. I don't use those kind of guys. I just had a guy over to Daniel Dubois' camp. I sent a guy 4-0 that's going somewhere. Okay, all these guys I send to camps are all guys that are going somewhere. I don't send old wore out journeymen. And once in a while, when you have a southpaw that you need southpaws, you have to rely on old journeymen and stuff like that. But they're not 20 and 20. They're 20 and 6, 25 and 9, stuff like that. They're capable. But these guys want to tell you your business. I tell them, I don't tell you how to train your fighter in the gym. Don't tell me about sparring partners. It's just a simple rule.
Would you say that's like the most difficult thing about supplying sparring partners to these trainers and these fighters? Like they want to pick and choose.
Let me run this by you. Since you're what I call a relatively intelligent guy, okay? And when I say it doesn't mean you're not intelligent. That means that you're young and you're learning. You understand what I'm saying? It's not a put down. Okay, it's a compliment. Okay, so here you're relatively intelligent. So let me run this by you. Mm-hmm. They spend $100,000 and $50,000 for steroids and stimulants and all this stuff. But then they want a nickel and dime on the sparring partner. I mean, whoa!
That's hustling backwards. That's ass backwards. You can't.
Listen, Brendan, you know it. You've been around. You grew up on the knee of Stacy McKinley, so you know what's right and wrong. You've seen it. You've seen Stacy, who's handled probably 35 world champions over the years. I might be wrong by 1 or 2, but I'm pretty close.
You're in the neighborhood, yeah.
Right, I'm in the neighborhood, and I know what it's about. You know what it's about, and they want to spend all this money on steroids and on stimulants and all this kind of stuff. And in the meantime, if they want a chance on the sparring partners, well, that plane ticket's too expensive from that city. Can't you get somebody from another city? It's a plane ticket. You're worried about an extra 200 or 300. You guys getting $2.5 million. You guys getting $1 million. You guys getting $750,000. What are you talking about?
$200.
I mean, it's the dumbest shit. It's the dumbest shit. I mean, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
And then you send heavyweights, right? And you fly in 8 hours here, 6 hours here, 10 hours here. They don't want to be in a regular coach seat. They're huge guys. Upgrade them a little bit. Do something. I mean, come on. I mean, just everything. It's just like, it's sad. If some of these fighters knew what some of these managers and trainers were saying, I mean, it's unbelievable.
They'd fire them on the spot. I'm sure.
I can write a book.
Someone asked, "Are steroids really that prevalent?" I mean, I'm sure they are. I mean, I know.
They're not as prevalent as they were 4 or 5 years ago, but they're still prevalent. Yes.
Really? What's changed in the last 4 or 5 years? Like, what is it?
Well, there's been upgraded testing. There's been more testing. There's been people caught. They're always upgrading the systems, and the cheaters are always trying to upgrade theirs. So, it's one of those kind of situations where everybody's trying to, beat the curve.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
Absolutely. No, so that's crazy. That's an eye opener. That I mean, I always knew that stuff like that goes on in camps, but I didn't think it was like to that level where you have multi-million-dollar fighters and their trainers nickel and diming for sparring partners.
The trainers, the promoters. Somebody's always like, just stop already, will you? I had to yell at a manager and a trainer on the phone recently. I mean, they wanted to put the two sparring partners, heavyweights, in the same room. I said, "Are you out of your mind? In double beds? Are you out of your mind?" For a month. For a month.
That's a disaster waiting to happen.
Absolutely. Not even a question.
Yeah. Rick, the light heavyweight division is really on fire right now. What do you think about Bivol, like with him being Canelo now? Like, what do you think his next move is? Is he going to fight Anthony Yard, who I know is mandatory next, or what do you think happens with him?
I don't know. I don't think he's fighting Yard. I think I believe the winner of I'm almost positive the winner of Beterbiev and Joe Smith is fighting Yard. I think Aram's already made that deal with Frank Warren. Yeah,
because Warren's been talking about. I think Warren said he already has a venue on hold for October the 22nd for those two.
Right.
So
and let me tell you, Joe Smith's no walk in the park for B-ball. Joe Smith's strong, cock strong. He can punch, and the other guy's on old legs. We saw that in the Dines fight. He didn't look great against Marcus Brown. Marcus Brown was just so gone. Okay, it's a fight. It's a fight, and you know what? Callum Johnson put Beterbiev on the deck a while back, and this guy can do the same. This is the same type of guy as McCallum Johnson, and Joe Smith catches better than Callum Johnson.
Well, I'm glad you said it, because I've been telling a lot of people that, like, Joe Smith Jr., he lands one of them big old left hooks the right way cleanly, and it could be current to Beterbiev. He could shake up the whole light heavyweight division with one singular punch.
You're 100% correct.
This is a guy that's been tested. What was he against Fonfara? Like what, a 13-1 underdog or something like that?
One shot in the first round. Game over.
Got him out of there. So,
and what about Bernard Hopkins' boxing career on the floor? He was literally on the floor.
Mm-hmm. And then he gave Eliada Alvarez the same treatment. He knocked him out the ring when they fought. So this is a dangerous fighter.
And he run he ran what's the name right out of the arena? Jesse Hart.
Jesse Hart, yeah. Jesse Hart was like, yeah, you heard a lot of people in my city. I gotta get revenge for Bernard Hopkins, and that messed him up even more. Trying to do that, his pride got him hurt.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But like the wild card and all this seems to be like Zotto, because Zotto is WBA mandatory now, and now he's been calling for the fight with Bivol. What do you make of like Bivol versus Zotto that fight happens?
A very high level technical fight. I don't think it's exactly an exciting fight. I think it's two chess players. Because Zotto fights interesting. Zotto fights very aggressive against B and C fighters, but when he's going to fight an A+ fighter like a Bivol, he's going to be a chess player. Yeah, tall left-hander like that, and Bivol will be a chess player. So I don't think it'll be exactly an exciting fight.
You don't think with Zotto rehydrating to 200+ pounds on a fight night that he tries to impose that size advantage at some point?
I think he will, but I think, like I said about him and Canelo, I think he gets out of the way with the fast feet. That Bivol's got good balance, fast feet, and maneuvers out of those situations more often than not, just like he did with Canelo.
Okay.
That's how I look at it. I think Zorro can beat him, but it's a hell of a fight.
Yeah, that's really the fight I want to see at 175. It's one of the better matchups.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Rick, I know you've seen a lot of fighters change trainers over the years. It's a very common thing in boxing. What do you make of Anthony Joshua and the Robert Garcia partnership?
Well, Robert Garcia's never trained a successful heavyweight, so it was a very strange pairing. First of all, heavyweights don't throw body shots like little guys, and Robert concentrates on body shots, so that's a little different. And he's fighting a southpaw, and it's even harder to land those body shots on a southpaw, let alone being a heavyweight too. I don't think it's a pairing made in heaven, but Robert is a great trainer. There's nothing to do with Robert not being a great trainer. It's just that I don't see it as an ideal situation. They're going to delay the fight. The fight's not going to be July 23rd. It's going to be about 2 to 3 weeks later, to give Robert more chance to work with
AJ.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, because Stacey McKinley's told me on many occasions, and I know this to be true. Like, just because a guy is a great trainer in other weight classes, it doesn't mean they can train heavyweights. It's a whole other sport.
Heavyweights and cruiserweights are in league of their own. It's a whole different animal than the smaller guy. Robert Garcia has got that little Bam. He's got Bam's brother, Josh Franco. He had Virgil Ortiz. I think he left. I'm not sure, but I believe he did. But he's got a whole bunch of, smaller guys he does great with. He's a great trainer. I mean, great trainer, not good, great. But heavyweights are a different animal. Another thing is he's not getting any chance to work with them in a fight or two prior to this. He's just getting thrown right into the fire like Joshua is. And I don't think it's exactly a great situation.
Okay, yeah, because I thought of the guys that he visited here in the States all those months ago, he should have went with Ronnie Shields. I thought Ronnie Shields would have been the best of the guys. At least I know he visited Virgil. I know he visited a couple other guys, but Ronnie was the best.
Virgil Hunter.
Virgil Hunter, yeah, no.
What a fraud he is! As soon as he puts his hands on a fighter, that game's over.
I saw your tweet about Tony Yoka when he fought. And the same thing you said, I thought the same thing when because I watched Yoka versus McCauley. I don't know how a heavyweight goes and trains at Virgil Hunter after the Brazil Wilder fight.
Andre, let me just tell you one thing.
Go ahead.
Andre Ward went to the top of the all-time greats, not because of Virgil, in spite of Virgil. It shows you how great Andre Ward really is. Holy moly.
The man. Like I can't even, I used to not be a big fan of Andre Ward because I wasn't a fan of his style. But the more fighters I see work with Virgil Hunter, the more I'm like, man, this guy was all that and then some.
I'm the same way. I mean, come on. The guy, every time he touches a fighter, the guy completely falls apart.
Yeah. Hey, Paul Sotek's asking, what's your opinion of Lou DiBello? That's the best. You're asking the right questions.
He knows.
He knows.
He wouldn't ask if he didn't know.
Everyone knows that.
Is a scum-sucking pig.
That's right.
That's all there is to it. It's all you need to say.
Yeah. Hyro says, Mr. Glaser, do you personally believe Spence and Crawford will happen after PBC and Spence keep saying to make the fight happen?
I won't believe that fight's happened until the bell goes off.
That's right. I'm right with you.
Contracts, dates. I'm just so skeptical. Anything to do with Heyman and Spence, very, very skeptical.
Yeah. I know I haven't talked to you for a year, so I'm gonna ask a question. Have you dealt with Al Heyman at all in the last year?
No.
In any way? No. Okay. What did you think about this past weekend's fight with Rolly and Tank?
It didn't belong on pay-per-view. It doesn't matter how many people showed up. They should have been on Showtime, and they could have blacked it out in the New York City area, and they would have done a great crowd, within like 100-mile radius of New York City or something like that, 60-mile radius, whatever. And It's not a pay-per-view fight. I know. I put a tweet out today on how to improve these pay-per-view shows. You need in pay-per-view. You need a main event that's undeniably pay-per-view. Okay, Wilder, Fury, those fights. That's definitely was pay-per-view. Obviously Mayweather, Pacquiao. These are the fights that are pay-per-view. These Tank Davis fights are not pay-per-view. It's in Heyman, Floyd, Ellerby, and Steven Espinosa's head. It's not pay-per-view. Pay-per-view is special. That's not special. Now, if Tank was fighting Ryan Garcia, if Tank was fighting Loma, if Tank was fighting somebody real as a heart attack where you didn't know who was going to win, that's pay-per-view. This is not pay-per-view. This is regular subscription showtime. If Arum had this fight, he would have put it on free cable, free ESPN cable. And he was the king of pay-per-view. So that's how much things have changed. Arum changed with the times. Pay-per-view has to be special. The main event.
And I feel like over the last year and a half, 2 years, PBC's just really like, for whatever reason, they've been oversaturating these pay-per-views. Like I was at one of the pay-per-view shows, Martin versus Ortiz. That was down here. That wasn't pay-per-view, but they made it pay-per-view.
My condolences. Yeah. Belated condolences, but my condolences. Yeah. It's shit. Thurman versus Barrios, not pay-per-view. Pay-per-view is supposed to be special. Okay? What's special? Nothing.
Yeah, and they're not selling any tickets, because I know when I went to that one show I was telling you about, there were so many tickets available. You could have got a free ticket, and then they were giving away more free tickets, and I got upgraded. So it's not like it's turning over a profitable.
I'll tell you how that was the one at the Hard Rock, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you how bad that was. I had a friend of mine that hadn't been to the Hard Rock since 2019, at Christmas 2019. He's Jewish, obviously, went there on Christmas. And he got they called him up and offered him 4 free tickets. Okay? And he said, let me think about it. They called him back 2 days later. He said, Wilson, we'll give you 8 free tickets. He said, yeah, but he says, the rest of the show will cost me $200. And he didn't want to go and got free tickets. I mean, it's garbage. Nobody wants to pay for garbage. You know what? Good things aren't free and free things aren't good. Sometimes shit shouldn't be at all. And what wanted Charles Martin and Luis Ortiz as a fight period, let alone a pay-per-view? On what? Yeah. On what? New Year's? What was that? It was New Year's Day night, right?
Mm-hmm.
Come on, like Tank Davis went up again with Isaac Cruz. He went up against NFL football, Patrick Mahomes, the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, come on, let's use some common sense. You're going to charge people $75, to watch that fight, and Isaac Cruz. Nobody even knew who he was. He was a substitute for Roley, and Roley wasn't in a trade. It wouldn't have mattered. But the point is, you go up against Sunday night NBC football for free, featuring Patrick Mahomes with this one he caught, and they wonder why they only did 52,000.
You're just trying to sabotage yourself at that point. You're going up against NFL, and
they should be apologizing to him. This is what I would have done. I wouldn't have made that mistake, but what I would have done was I would have went on and I would have had Tank and had a press conference with Tank and Floyd, Ellerby, okay, and Espinosa, and apologized to America. We went up against, we made a mistake, and we disrespected the NFL, Patrick Mahomes, the Kansas City Chiefs, NBC, and sports fans and boxing fans are more intelligent than we thought, and apologize. They didn't even do anything. They tried to shove it under the rug. No, come clean, admit your mistake. We're not going to do it again.
Yeah, and get better from it.
What was Showtime? What was Steven Espinosa thinking? It's a no-brainer. I didn't buy it. I didn't buy that shit the other night. Who with that undercut? Anytime you have Lara on a pay-per-view
Co-main event.
Why buy it? It just shows you got shit. I mean, against Spike O'Sullivan, they dragged Spike out of retirement for Christ's sake. Come on.
Spike was getting sparked out by the likes of Munguia and Lemieux not too long ago too. So
terrible, isn't it? I mean, it's just a bunch of crap. They're trying to be, you know what they are? They're trying to be slick mouth salesmen. You know, Floyd and Floyd and Ellerby and
Sam Watson,
and Espinoza. Heyman's the monkey grinder in the back room, and you know, spurring these guys on and you know, belting orders out. The truth of the back, they all should be embarrassed. That's all there is to it. And the other night was no different. Oh, people say, well, it turned out to be a good fight. So what? It's not pay-per-view. A good fight does not mean it's pay-per-view. A good fight is mega attraction versus a guy who's capable of winning. Okay? Come on.
There's only like a handful of those in boxing right now.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And what did I just tell you? There's so few pay-per-view fights out there. Okay? I mean, yeah, GGG and Canelo, that's pay-per-view. Okay, Spence and Crawford is pay-per-view. Okay? But you got to load up that card with a Mexican undercard that's going to be on TV too to attract the Mexican people. You got to put Mexicans in world title fights.
Yeah.
I mean, if not, they're not going to watch two African-American fighters. Life doesn't work like that. That's a dream.
You shooting it to us straight. What do you think about this fight weekend? Because we got 3 fights this weekend. We got
the next 7 days of boxing couldn't be any better, and I put it up on Twitter. It just couldn't be any better. 3 tremendous fights, and you know, a tough winner will come out of all of them. Yeah. You know, no matter who wins those 3 fights, you're going to have a tough winner out of all 3.
Which one are you the most excited about?
I mean, you got to be undisputed, so you got to be most excited about Kambosos and Haney, and because of the class of cultures and everything else like that, and you know, they're on the other side of the world, and you know, there's everything, all those little things that you don't think count, all of a sudden add up to something big. 60,000 people going to be there, 65,000 people. I mean, come on, you got to go for that. I'm excited about Danny Garcia. Danny Roman and Stephen Fulton.
That's the one I want. I'm excited about.
I mean, a new next week, next Tuesday, was it Tuesday? A Nui.
Donaire.
Yeah, the Nui and Donaire. How can you not get excited about this stuff? The 3 great fights, and you know what? All the congratulations to all the promoters, organizers, managers, and everybody that said yes to these bouts. Okay, because they're all you know, great fights. And say, listen, as much as I despise Lou DiBella, it's a great event, and it's gonna be okay. Now it couldn't happen without Bob Arum's financing. Okay, but you know, because Lou's basically is a club show promoter these days at best. So it's all about, you know, the ESPN money and, you know, the pay-per-view in Australia, the 60,000 people there, and Top Rank basically is saying, you know, here's Devin Haney, and you know, let's get this on. And you know, Arum's about legacy. You know, they say Arum it's to keep fights in house and all. Arum's about legacy. That's why he went to Dallas Cowboy Stadium twice before anybody else did, with 2 Pacquiao fights. He went to Yankee Stadium with Cotto. The list goes on and on and on. Look at the crowds he drew with Crawford in Omaha, which is never a fight town. 14,000, 15,000. Look at the people he draws in Fresno.
Before Crawford, they had a fight there since, I think, Joe Frazier versus Ron Stander or something like that.
That was just 50 years ago the other day.
Yeah.
One of the greatest boxing lines in history came out of that fight. Do you know what it was?
No.
They asked Ron Stander's wife at the time. She says, they asked her what she thought after the fight was over when her husband got butchered. He said, well, she goes, you can't win the Indianapolis 500 in a Volkswagen.
she's correct.
You know, it's exactly 50 years ago the other day. Actually, it was, you know, it was great. But yeah, And then what Aaron did in with what's his name in Jose Ramirez out in Fresno, drawn 15,000 people, and just the things that he's capable of doing. He's I don't care if he'll be 91 years old this coming. Don will be 91 August 20th. Bob will be December 8th, 91. Elbaum, he'll be 91 coming up this month, June 16th. These guys are legendary figures in boxing,
and they're still going strong. Still going strong.
Yeah, I mean, listen, as long as they don't lose their mind and they're able to talk and nobody sticks anything in their mouth to keep their mouth shut, I'm good with it.
Yeah. James wants to know, because I keep seeing him comment this. What was the Canelo versus Bivol gate?
I don't know. I didn't look into it.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't look into it.
Right.
It had to be great.
Okay.
What was the next question?
Iro says, "Hey Rick, what is the difference between being signed to PBC and Mayweather Promotions? Isn't it the same thing? Mayweather doesn't have a roster like Oscar De La Hoya."
It's like PBC is the body and Mayweather's the arm. So
okay.
That's all. It's the same thing. Same shit.
Is it the same thing as like being signed exclusively to Al Heyman? Because I've been told that being signed to Al Heyman and then being signed to Floyd Mayweather is a little bit different.
Yeah. Oh, definitely that, because Al gets a piece of those fighters, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That makes sense. Matt Graham says there's still 10,000 odd tickets for Kambosos versus Haney. It's $60 on main event. At least it's for all the belts, but it's a trash undercard. I honestly think they'll struggle to sell out.
Well, listen. If they got 50,000 people there, they don't get 60,000, or they get 55 and they don't get 65. Okay, it's still a lot of goddamn people. Period.
It's a lot more than we get for our fights.
I don't understand why he says a trash undercard. Jason Maloney's in World War III.
Yeah. What do you think about? So me and you were talking about this earlier before we started the live. I wanted to ask you about this fight here in Miami next weekend between Trevor Bryan and Daniel Dubois. What do you make of that one?
Just an easy destruction. Dubois just rips him out. Easy 2-3 rounds probably. I would assume unless Trevor Bryan's got some amazing chin, something really like George Chuvalo chin. It's going to go in 2-3 rounds. Yeah. So, because I know. How do you feel? You're closer to the situation than I am.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen them in months. They went to Vegas for camp, so they're taking it more serious. I think it'll go longer than that. But Trevor Bryan's gonna have to fight way out of his skin to win this fight. I think the right hand's gonna.
If you help to fight way out of his skin just to get more than two rounds in.
Well, I only said because it's the heavyweight division. There's always that one punch factor. You never know. One punch.
Trevor doesn't have that one punch.
Yeah. Okay. I know me and you went back and forth recently on Twitter about was it Andrade and Janibek? How do you feel? How do you feel about that whole situation?
Janibek, Andrade knows he can't beat Janibek. That's why he's trying to run to 68. He doesn't know what to do right now. He pulled out of that fight. They pulled the sanction out on him because of the indecisiveness. He's not beating Janibek. Janibek's on fresh legs. Listen, all you need to know about Andrade, forget about who he didn't fight, who wouldn't fight him. What's his name? Lem Williams.
Liam Williams, yeah.
He won the first bunch of rounds early, the first 6 rounds. The last 6 rounds, he was hanging on for life. What's the name was all over him. Lem Williams. He can't back up. He can't use his legs like he used to. He's not what he was. That's all there is to it. He was looking for the cash out with Canelo or maybe Charlo. Listen, he's not economically viable. Okay, the problem with Andrade is a weird thing right now. All these powers to be, they still think he's Andrade. They don't realize he's on old legs. They ain't sharp. He's on old legs. His game is over. He's a very rare specimen. He's an undefeated world champion that's on the back nine. Truth. How do you feel?
I feel he beat Johnny Beck. I still want to see the fight. I want to see the fight. I think what he should do is
you realize how much physically stronger Beck is than Andrade? Physically straight.
I was told
he's gonna put on him.
I was told by a sparring partner that sparred both of them that Johnny Beck is the strongest guy he's ever been in the ring with.
The next sparring partner didn't have to tell me that. I can see walking over people.
Yeah, I just think Andre can still outbox him, even with the leg.
Not anymore. The legs that game is over. Let me tell you something very interesting about Beck. Okay, if you ever see him and they're holding on, and the referee goes to come step in, he pushes the other fighter way away, and the guy like flies backwards. That's how strong he is.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty strong.
He's very strong.
His last fight against Hassan Mandam, he was good. Like, he was good. Don't get me wrong. Hassan Mandam was a fighter, as you would say, he's on the back nine. You know, in the clubhouse. Right. It wasn't like the Johnny Beck that he won, but it wasn't the Johnny Beck from like his earlier in his career. The one that really impressed me.
Let me explain to you about the guy, so you get a better understanding. He moves around a lot, and he feeds into what people are doing, and then he dissects you, and then he puts the pressure on you. So for a while, the Dom looked good, but he would put so much. Don't forget one thing: pressure takes nervous energy out of the other fighter.
Yeah.
And he's going to be all over Andrade. Believe me, Top Rank will win the purse bid or be the promoter. That ring will be so small. It'll be the minimum. They're going to take it to a state that they're going to have a 16-foot ring.
They're going to get one of those solo boxeo rings for the Telemundo cards. They're going to stick it in there.
Yes, exactly.
I still think Andrew will win.
I listen. I've always respected your opinion. Okay, I think that you're a very intelligent guy, but I think Janabek is a very good talent. I just think the way he fights. I just see Andre outboxing him. Okay, and I see Andrade winning the first 3 rounds, and then all of a sudden the legs are falling apart, going all over the place, and this guy's all over him like a cheap suit.
So what happens if Andre lands one of them big old overhand lefts like he does on everyone else?
Nothing. He's got a great. This guy's got a great chin.
Okay.
Nothing at all. And to land one of those great rights, great punches, you got to have your legs under. He doesn't have the legs that he had. Tell you, it's difficult. Don't forget one thing. Everything works off the foundation. You could ask Stacy. The legs,
absolutely.
Foundation.
Absolutely. Okay. I want to see it. You know, you got to prove it in the ring. You know, it's all good. You know, saying that he's this boogeyman and he's the best middleweight in the world and all this stuff, but you got to prove it. As far as I'm concerned, Andrew hasn't lost a fight yet. So until then,
you didn't see Charlo stepping up to fight him or Munguia.
No, but Munguia doesn't want to fight anybody. That's not a Johnny Beck thing. That's just a Munguia Golden Boy thing. They didn't want to fight. They didn't want to fight Janabek. They didn't want to fight Andrade.
No, it's more Fernando Beltran as manager than it is
Xanafer Promotions. Yeah. Devin says, "What happens when Johnny Beck lands a clean left and drops him like Vanas did?" Well, then we'll see. Andrade is all right, but the top dudes out there are going to give him fits. To be honest, Johnny Beck is too hungry right now. Yeah, he's very hungry. And honestly, look, I like Andre, but he don't look like he want to fight him because he did that interview recently where he was talking. They brought it up, and he was like, "Nah." He pretty much shot it down. So
he what?
He shot it down. Andre, he did an interview on Fight Hype at the Rolly fight.
He does. Yeah. He's trying to figure out what to do, and he's got nobody around him that's got any brains. I mean, Andrade's got like one of the worst. You know what? I tell you what I told somebody recently at a telephone conversation. Andrade's actually a good fighter because he has survived the stupidity of the people around him.
Yeah, because they don't really seem like they have any idea what's going on.
They have no clue.
I'm
Some
in contact.
I never heard of. He's not even in boxing. I mean,
What was it?
the
Ed Ferris? Ed Ferris, I think his name is.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And who are these people? Come on, guys, a world-class athlete on the back nine, but world-class athlete. He's got people you never heard of handling his career. And I'm in boxing. They're not. So, and the father, Jesus. Whew.
Oh, you don't like Paul?
No, I didn't say I don't like him, but he's not a boxing guy. He doesn't have any brains around him that knows boxing.
Yeah, because I talk to his dad frequently, and they don't seem like they have any direction as to what they're gonna do. Like I know
they have no direction.
It took them forever in a day just to even secure the Parker fight because the WBO wouldn't even let them at first, and then they let him, and then he got the injury. Now he's like caught to 116. He's got to fight Johnny back before November the 17th. So we'll see what happens.
He wasn't going to beat Zach Parker either, by the way. Just to let you know.
It would have been a tough fight. He would have beat him.
Okay.
He would have beat
England?
Huh?
In England?
Maybe. No? They're robbing him?
No, they won't rob him.
Do you think that Zach Parker will legitimately beat him?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Based on what? With size?
Big, strong guy, lefty, righty, can punch with both hands. Excellent amateur credentials. He was a really good fighter. He's a really good fresh fighter on fresh legs. You're talking about an Andrade. How old is Andrade? Like 34 years old?
He's 34.
On old legs. On old legs.
But he hasn't taken that much punishment. His 34 is not the same as...
It's nothing to do with punishment. It's the daily grind of training for fights, making weights, go in the amateurs where you have to make weights. You had a big amateur career, you had to make weight every day. It's all those things takes your wear and tear over the course of 20. He's probably in boxing for 25 years.
Yeah. I mean, look, I like Parker. I think he's a good young contender, but I mean, he had that fight a couple years ago. What was it? Darryl Williams, the British fighter that everybody thought beat him. I have the right to reserve my belief in Parker beating Andre. I mean, he's got some good tools. He's tall. He's big. He can switch. But
well, I'll tell you what Vaughn Alexander said, who's never stopped before.
No, I know. I've seen that fight.
Yeah, got stopped in 2 rounds and is a great sparring partner and a good, solid pro.
Durable.
You know what he said? I had never been hit like that before, ever, by anybody.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
We'll see. Rick, is there any funny stories from you that have happened over the last couple of years? Anything that stuck out, like in your business dealings? Dealing with anybody in boxing?
No, just the normal stuff. I had a guy today. He's got a 4-4 fighter, and I called him up for a fight. The manager, and he goes to me, "Man," he says, "You want my guy to be the B side?" I said, well, you're 4-4, but you were probably the B side 4 times. Oh, we're not the B side no more. Said, oh, really? Well, who's paying for you bouts? I mean, just the shit you hear, A side, B side, fight.
I've heard fighters that are opponents in gyms before say things like that, like, "Oh, I'm not the B side no more." I'm like, that's not how it works. You can't just declare that you're the B side no more. You have to fight your way out of that and have some people behind you. And
they don't get it. It's really sad, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of fighters living in delusion. A lot of managers, I'm sure, as you know, living in delusion.
Oh my God, managers, fighters, trainers. Everybody thinks they got the next great thing, and I got a kid I'm working with now. He's 2-0. He's fighting this Thursday in Montreal. He's a Canadian kid. His name is Spencer Wilcox. Real good looking lightweight. He's 2-0 with 2 second-round knockouts, but he did beat a guy 9-4 in his second fight. So he's a real fighter, and I'm putting him in this week. I'm putting him in with a guy. I think he's 5-1 and never was stopped. I'm putting him in with solid guys, not puffs. You know what I mean? This kid was 40-8 in a national competition in Canada and international competition, and he could fight. He's a good fighter.
Spencer Wilcox. He's from Canada, or he's just fighting in Canada?
No, he's
Okay,
from Canada.
Montreal.
Hamilton. No, he's from Hamilton, Ontario. He's fighting in Montreal.
Okay, Spencer Wilcox. I'll keep an eye out for him. Hey Rick, what do you think about this Pro Box Promotions? I mean, they had a card recently with John Pascal and
Phenomenal. They're $1.99. I'm touting it on Twitter, Facebook, on every podcast I go on. I'm 1,000% behind it. As far as being a believer in it, I bought a year's subscription. You can get a year's subscription for $18.
$18. That's great value right there.
I mean, I went to a restaurant tonight. The Caesar salad was $20 with no meat in it. Come on now, right?
Yeah. I had
what's $18 now?
Nothing really.
Pretty soon it's gonna be two gallons of gas.
Yeah, with the inflation and everything going on in the country right now, you just don't know how high these prices will get.
Yeah, $18. Yes, they had a great first show. I look for them to have a great show. I think June 24th, their next show, a world title fight with Jonathan Gonzalez, 108-pound versus the Filipino Mark Berrigan. I think it's going to be a great fight. Berrigan's got big, huge amateur credentials. He's like 10-1. His only loss was for the world title. Great fight. I expect big things out of the Ruben De Jesus he's the director of the whole thing for Gary Jonas, the promoter. Yeah. And I expect big things out of these people. I really do.
Yeah, good people. I had a chance to go to their they had their first show before they launched the app. I went to that show when Jimmy Kelly fought Kanat Islam, and they had Pete Dobson versus what's his name, Jose Miguel Borrego on the undercard. A couple other fights. It was pretty well matched. It was good. It's good.
Ruben's working with Tatico's son, the young Felix III there. He's in his 20s. He's the matchmaker. Him and Ruben have, great relationship because they were both and they still are with All-Star Boxing with Tutu Zabala.
Yeah, shout out to him.
They're going to do a great job. I have a lot of confidence in it. Listen, I called it. I always said the Frosty at winning calls was. Yeah, I just said he was from Hamilton.
Yeah.
Okay. He's got three brothers that fight. There's four of them that are still fighting. So, anyways, the truth is, I just believe that this is gonna come together and be very good. Yeah. I really do. The fights are gonna be good, and how can you beat it? What are you talking about? $2, $1.99 on a show, $18 a year. You go to a nice, a classy bar these days, a nightclub. 2 premium beers are $20, right or wrong?
Especially here in South Florida.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Come on. What's $18? $2. If you can't afford the 18, it's $2 a month. You want to try it? It's $2 a month. Whatever. And cancel anytime you want if you don't like the fights. I think they're going to do a great job, and I'm behind it 1,000%.
Yeah. Hyro says, Mr. Glaser, do you think Gary Russell beat Mark Magsayo with one hand? Is it Gary's fault or Al Heyman that he doesn't fight often?
Okay, so he did not beat Mark Magsayo one hand or not. He lost the fight legitimately. It's both of their fault. He spoiled Heyman spoiled him by overpaying him, and because he paid him so much, he wouldn't fight him off often because he's not commercially viable like Andrade. And in the meantime, that's what you got. You got a career knowledge in shambles. The father died. The brother died not too long ago. I mean, Gary's a successful businessman outside of boxing. I believe he owns a towing company. And I think going forward at his age, I think he needs to concentrate on that towing company more and more.
Damn. Okay.
He needs to get away from Heyman. That's for sure.
I remember. Yeah, he was part of that first era of like PBC when I remember when he fought like Patrick Hyland. He was getting paid millions to fight the Patrick Hylands of the world. So it is what it is, man. It's unfortunate. I wish he would have been able to fight like the Santa Cruzes of the world and things like that. Those should have been pretty makeable fights.
Why would Heyman do that?
You know, far be it from me, but like for a good competitive fight for his company, for his
It doesn't
brand.
work like that.
I know.
Leo is a much bigger draw, commercially, in person and on pay-per-view. Why would he put him in with Gary Russell? Who would have beaten him?
But didn't you say like earlier, like if you get a guy who's commercially viable against a guy who could potentially beat him, that's like a good fight that you can put on pay-per-view?
Yeah, but you need a guy who can replace that guy. Gary Russell's not replacing Leo Santa Cruz with that fan base. If you had another Mexican or Mexican American that could replace that same fan base, then it's possible. But if you don't, you don't.
Yeah, well, why not give him the opportunity to get a fan base? You know, if he fights Leo, he can get.
He's not going to have the fan because he's not going to have that fan base. If he was a Mexican or Mexican American, he could end up with that fan base. He's not going to end up with that fan base. And Heyman knew that. That's why it was never made.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he had Frampton too. I know Frampton's Irish. He had the Irish population, but I'm just saying, like, he should have gotten one of those. All I'm trying to say is he should have gotten like one of those fights. He shouldn't be punished just because he's this good fighter and he could potentially.
But you got to remember something. He was getting paid so much to fight stiffs.
I know.
And his mandatories, they couldn't afford to pay him millions more to fight those guys, and that's what he wanted. It was bad chemistry between all of them.
Yeah, but his story is no different than a lot of guys on PBC. You know, a lot of guys.
That's because Al Heyman doesn't know anything about professional boxing. He relies on minions around him that have their own agendas.
Yeah,
and it all comes back to haunt him in the end.
Yeah. Dundada says, I'm hearing that Angelo Leo called out Leo Santa Cruz. That's a good fight. I would like that fight. He's a good fighter, Rick. What do you think about Angelo Leo? You know, Mexican American was champion.
He just got outpointed by what, Fulton it was?
Fulton, yeah. That was
Angelo Leo's an exciting fighter, and I could see him in Santa Cruz at 126 making a good fight, even though I think Angelo Leo's a little undersized. He's really a 22, but it's still a great fight. It's still a really good fight. And you know what? Who knows, after getting cold cocked by Tank, who knows what Leo's got left? Yeah,
because I think Mayweather Promotions kind of dropped the ball promoting him, you know, with him being a young Mexican-American fighter, you know, pretty good. You know, I think that they really should have promoted him more. Because you talked about, yeah.
Of course, another colossal failure by Mayweather Promotions.
Yeah. BT basically what Rick is saying is business runs boxing. Of course. The great Steve Kim had one of my favorite quotes in boxing. He said, boxing is a business masqueraded as a sport. So I get all that, but it's still a little bit of a sport. You know, you still got to make.
I have my line. You know what my line is?
What's
boxing
your line?
Is a business unless you're buying a ticket.
Damn. Okay. I buy tickets too. So.
Well, there you go.
Let me see. Crawford is also in the back nine. It's been a year since he fought Porter at 34, and he'll be 35 against Spence. Big difference.
He's not. That's not on the back nine.
So Crawford's 34 and Andre's 34 are not the same.
No.
Why do you say that?
Because Crawford didn't have as many amateur fights. He wasn't that unbelievable, incredible amateur where he fought all over the world. Number one. Mm-hmm. Okay. Number two is, Crawford fights completely different. Crawford doesn't use his legs to move around and outmaneuver a guy. He walks in and looks like to take the guy's head off. You're talking about completely two different styles. One is more offensive and one is more defensive. Andrade obviously is more defensive. And you use your legs more defensively than you use offensively. So it's totally different.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, he does a great job of living the life. Like, you never see Crawford out of shape. He's in the gym 24/7. He's the guy that the young fighters all come to and they want to learn.
He was in Dubai and he was running every day.
Oh,
and working out every day.
Was he there when you were there?
No.
Oh, okay. You're just saying in general.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me see. There was another question. Where was it? Wait, Gonzalez beat the Mexican from Golden Boy. Yeah, he did. He beat Elwin Soto. Jonathan Gonzalez beat Elwin Soto. Easy Dime wants to know who do you think that Al Heyman should sacrifice to face Jerome Boots Ennis? But Boots isn't even signed with Al Heyman officially, right? He's not.
No, he had nothing to do with him.
Yeah,
he
just fights on the cards.
Showtime directly and Cameron Duncan.
Do you think that's like the best route for him to go, like with his career, just kind of find these cards and keep a distance from Al Haymon, or no?
More than likely.
Yeah.
Even though that Cameron Duncan's no bargain either.
Yeah. Well, could he still get the big fights without signing with Al Haymon? Is that possible?
Sure, it's going to be mandatory.
Okay. Yeah, because PBC, you know how PBC is. They always want to freeze certain guys out. So, even if he is mandatory, like
there's nothing. Al Haymon is what I call crimes against boxing. It's the way he operates. It's not about what the fans want. It's not about the sport. It's not about what doing right for the sport. It's about control by a guy who's basically in a closet. Nobody sees him. Everybody thinks, they see Sam Watson in the ring. They think that's Al Haymon. You know how many fighters fight for Al Haymon? They thank him and they've never met the man.
I believe it because I knew a fighter one time and I asked him, I said, is Al Haymon real? Have you met him? And he was like, nah, I never met him, but I've talked to his secretary, Sylvia Brown.
Sylvia Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's so phony. Come on, please. How do you be a mouthpiece for a fighter? You don't talk to the press. You don't talk to the fighter. I mean, what a joke. Seriously. That's not how business is run. Like I've said it before, and I'll say it again. He runs his business like Carlo Gambino ran the Gambino crime family. That's all I need to say.
Yeah. Seismic Glare says Boots should face Daniel Yulushinov. Man, he hasn't won it. He disappeared.
No, he just signed with Probellum with a co-promotional with Greg Cohn, and he just did. And no, I don't think he should fight him. No.
Greg Cohn, man. Last I heard about Greg Cohn, I think he was in jail.
No, it's called prison.
Prison. He was in prison.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, that's good though. At least he'll get some fights because Yusunov's a very talented fighter. He was a gold medalist. I want to see him in the mix.
Yeah. Danier's not active enough to be fooling with a Boots yet and stuff. He needs to get on a little bit of a roll, like fight 3 times in 9 months, something like that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. Rick, what did you make of Jermell Charlo versus Castaño? Jermell is now undisputed before.
I said that Jermell was the better athlete, and he'll make the adjustments and win the rematch, and that's what happened. Just like he was with Tony Harrison, same thing. He's a good athlete. He's a smart guy. Listen, I have nothing but respect for Jermell Charlo. Jermall Charlo, I have zero respect for. The difference between those two is Jermell, the 54-pounder. He's the Rolls Royce, and the other guy's the Chevy on his way to the junkyard. As far as I'm concerned, I mean he's got the heart difference and the balls difference between the two of them are like night and day. It's amazing they're twins, isn't it? Yeah,
he just seems to have he's just content. Like he's cool. Like he had a little title. He had a nice little run at 154. He don't want to do nothing no more. His career's become one big waste of time. He's fighting Andrade and Daniel Jacobs, leftovers and Sulecki. It's ridiculous.
It's embarrassing. Seriously. The other brother, he's up to challenges. I listen. People say, "Oh, you hate the Charlos." No, not at all. Jermell Charlo, he's a favorite of mine. The other one, he's a puke.
It's crazy because, like, for me, like 5 years ago, it was kind of reversed. I thought Jermall was the guy that was going to be this, like when he was fighting Julian Williams.
Well, that's because he won the world title first, realistically, or was in the bigger fights with like Julian Williams early, whoever they were, or whatever. That's why everybody thought that. But you know what? He petered out mentally. No heart, no ball sack. I mean, come on, please. He's not a fighter.
Yeah.
Listen, I had the good line that you'll appreciate, right? Or you won't appreciate. I says if Andrade and Jermell Charlo, the 60-pounder, signed the contract, no matter what, somebody's not showing up.
You know what? I like Andre, but you're probably right. As much as I love Andre, you're probably right because something always seems to happen with him. So it is what it is. Rick, what do you think about the fight next? Was it next month? Yeah, well, June. that June. Rungvisai versus Bam Rodriguez. This kid Bam seems to be challenging everybody.
I love him. I think he's great. I think he's fun. He's in a tough fight. But if he wins, he's the king of the little guys real quick. And of course, Chocolatito, because he's got a huge fan base, Chocolatito. But this guy's the next. I think this kid could be the next great thing. I mean, he could have made 108. He could have made 112 easy. Goes up to 115 on short notice in 2 weeks and wins the world title. Now he's fighting this guy, Rungvisai. I mean, who's a killer. Was from Thailand, left-handed power puncher. Listen, this guy's got he's got balls down to his ankles. He's got balls bigger than the rest of them.
Yeah, man. Because I remember after he beat Quadras, I was like, the one he can fight whoever he wants. Just don't fight Rungvisai. Don't fight that guy. That would be the most dangerous fight for him. And that's exactly what he's doing. That's like,
but you're challenging him. You put him up to that. Everybody say, "Oh, you won't fight." I go, "Oh, yes, I'm going to now." I mean, you gotta love the chutzpah. You gotta love it, right?
Yeah, and I do. Yeah, he beats Rungvisai, right? And then maybe you can get a big passing of the torch type of a fight with him in Chocolatito.
Hey, you know what? Chocolatito, if a fight was ever pay-per-view or the little guys like it was Michael Carbajal and Chiquita Gonzalez years ago, if this guy here, Bam, gets past, Rungvisai and Chocolatito, oh my God. That's pay-per-view. That's little guys pay-per-view. There wouldn't be, I don't know a fight fan who would want to see that fight. I mean, seriously.
That's box office. That's must-see TV. That's a fight. I'm going out to that fight if that ever gets made. Them guys.
It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
It's like Chiquita Gonzalez and Carbajal was years ago. Same thing.
Yeah. That's like a fight where the little guys can both get the $1 million paydays because those $1 million paydays are few and far between. But that would be one where you fork over that money and you pay them guys. You compensate them accordingly.
And they can fight 3 times. Two times for sure.
Yeah. I like that.
So what else we got? Come on now. You're slowing down on me.
Okay. Hey Rick, what did you think about Shakur Stevenson? I know that fight with Valdez was a big deal.
He's sensational. He would play with Take. He would make Take look like he was never had gloves on before. Oh my God, he's brilliant.
And I'm glad you said it.
Nimble, he's brilliant. I'm
glad you said it because I keep seeing everybody say after this Rolly fight, which I don't know if they're watching. They're like, Gervonta Davis has got all the skills. He's this great boxer. I'm like, he's not no great boxer. He had a good amateur pedigree and whatnot, but put him in there with Shakur Stevenson, you'll find out he's far from that, very far.
Shakur will make him look like he never had gloves on before.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, Shakur is great. Great fighter.
I had a chance to watch him spar at the Top Rank gym a couple months ago. He looked sensational.
He is. He's a sensational fighter. He's great. He talks well. He's good looking. He's got everything going for him. He's already won his third world title, second weight class. He's in the second weight class. He's on his way to 35. Then he's going to go to 40. I don't know if he can do 47, but we'll see. But so far, so good. He's a beast.
Have you ever seen a fighter that young have such a understanding of distance before? Because he seemed
Paul Spadafore and Pernell Whitaker.
Okay, yeah, because I was gonna ask you about Paul Spadafore because I know you talk highly of Paul. Paul was the IBF champion. Didn't even fight up to his potential, but he still was.
Well, he fought up to his potential. He was great, but he never lived up to his potential in the results. As far as he didn't
like longevity, right? Like longevity.
Well, to the biggest fighters because he didn't beat the biggest fighters because he never fought them, and he got robbed when he was like 38 years old. But as a lightweight, he was 9-0-1 in world title fighting. He's a beast. He's a great fighter. He's super smart. Let me tell you one thing: people lose sight of this. Brains in the ring, high ring IQ, and agility and speed beat power 9 out of 10 times. Now, was Tyson the exception as a heavyweight? Yeah, but none of those guys were smart, fast, and slick either.
Yeah.
Okay, that he fought. But the truth of the matter is, those kind of guys, the Pernell Whitakers, the Spataforas, the Shakors, the Joe Calzagis. It's brilliance.
Especially when you get one that's a southpaw. That makes it.
They're all southpaws I mentioned.
Yeah, I know.
So you remember this: southpaws are way more scientific than right-handed fighters. Right-handed fighters rely on power. Left-handers rely on speed, agility, being left-handed, and super high ring IQ. It's very rare you see a top fighter that's left-handed that doesn't have a super ring IQ, super high ring IQ. Very rare.
Yeah. Dundada says, why is the LDBC saying that Spence sent Crawford a contract? I don't know why.
Sent Crawford a contract. He is retarded. More retarded shit from the LDBC. The Wilder Rats, the Haymanites, the Wilder Rats, the Earl Sexuals, the Agenda Crew. Come on. LDBC. Come on. There's a little faction of those people.
I don't keep track of nothing they say. I always get everything they say through people that watch my J's tell me.
Where would Spence send anybody a contract? He don't even have a contract to send somebody. Come on.
Shakur has not been in a real fight yet. I want to see what happens when his plan A doesn't work. He hasn't been in a real fight?
Hasn't been in a real fight. Oh, my God almighty. I'll strike that statement completely. Please stop. He beat Joel Gonzalez and Joel Gonzalez is so good he left Golden Boy Top Rank, picked him up immediately. That's how good he is, and now he just beat Oscar Valdez, who was a 2-division champion, knocked out Belchart. Okay, I mean an Olympian. I mean, come on. I mean, sir, what are you watching? You're not watching what I'm watching. That's for sure. From these 4 decades of world-class boxing experience, my eyes and mind.
Yeah. Hawker Mustang says, I get all my fake news and new media from the LDBC.
That's a good. That's a great line. That's a great line.
It is a great line. Rick,
they call me old media. I'm not even in the media.
You're not.
I mean, fucking idiots.
Well, you were in boxing before there was internet. You know?
Yeah, I got boxing in 91. And the internet came around January 1st, 95. It didn't start with the boxing until 2000, 2001. But they started with the boxing a little bit on the internet in 2000, 2001. So I already been in it 10 years.
Yeah, there seems to be a thing against people involved in boxing that weren't around in the that were around pre-internet, which I don't think is fair because I feel
like stupid things. Old media. They call me old media. I'm nothing to do with the media.
Yeah, you just come on podcasts.
What's that?
You just come on like channels like this one, and
I'm not media. I don't write. I'm not a writer. I don't write. My website is my business website, glazerboxing.com. It's just infomercials, what it is.
Yeah, so that's what it is. But Rick, I think I ran out of questions, man. I ran out of questions for you.
Come on. You still got you still got 18 minutes to go. You better come up with some more questions.
Okay. If Devin Haney beats George Kambosos Jr., could you foresee maybe like a Devin Haney versus Shakur Stevenson
No, they're
fight?
going to do a rematch. It's already in the contract.
No, but I'm saying if Devin were to get through like both fights,
2 fights, then what do I see?
If Devin versus Shakur Stevenson, the big,
Yeah, I think so because I don't think if Tank stays with Mayweather, he's not going to put him in with Haney, and he's not going to put him in with he won't put him in with Shakur. So yeah, probably would be yes.
Yeah, because I mean, ever since those two were amateurs, they've always been getting compared to each other. Like people would ask who's going to have the better career, Shakur or Devin. So, which fighter do you like more, Rick? Devin or Shakur?
Ability, Shakur.
Ability,
ring smarter, left-handed, a little quicker, more angles. Just that ring, that mega high ring intelligence. You can't beat that ring IQ. It's pretty hard to beat that.
Yeah. Shady Slim, shout out! Wow, I haven't seen Shady Slim in a while. Good to see you, champ. He says, Rick, will Tank Davis ever fight a non-PBC fighter?
If he leaves PBC, well. That's the answer.
Do you think Tim Tszyu is ready for Jamel Charlo? Dundada asked that question.
I don't know if he beats Jermell Charlo, but he warrants the fight. That I'll say.
Okay.
Don't forget, Tim Tszyu's heavy-handed, both hands, left hand and right hand. He's got a good chin so far. I mean, I don't know if he beats Jermell Charlo, but it's a fight.
Yeah, I was at his media workout in Vegas, and he's very interested in that fight. He's done everything.
Very physically strong.
Yeah. Only problem I have with Tim is, I think maybe his stamina. You could question that a little bit in the back half of fights, because when he fought like Takashi Inoue, he started pushing his punches a little bit, but that comes with time and experience. I think he can get better in that department.
I think he'll be better in America with endurance. I think over there, in front of his own crowd, he's a little too excited.
Oh, you think maybe he expends too much nervous energy? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mitchell Fleming says, Rick, sorry for wasting your time a couple years ago with DeLeon Jones. I owe you one. Canelo smokes a vape now. I've seen him do it. That's why he is so gassed now.
I don't know anything about that. I don't even know who DeLeon Jones is.
Who or Dylan Jones? I don't know. He must have not been that good. He must have not have been memorable.
I don't remember.
I guess that's why he's saying he wasted your time, because you don't remember. I think Demetrius Andre versus Laura would be a good fight. Laura wants to fight now.
Laura, you can't unify. They won't unify with the WBA secondary title. The other organizations won't do it.
Yeah. Okay. Big Us BT. What does Rick think about fighters jumping up in weight when they haven't necessarily cleaned up their natural divisions, like Canelo, for example?
What didn't he clean up at 168?
Benavidez.
Okay. Why? What is Benavidez doesn't have a title? What does he bring to the table? He won all 4 belts.
He brings being the youngest, most exciting Mexican-American fighter, or one of the most Mexican-American fighters in boxing. And he's a former... And he's a former... I don't even like Benavidez. I don't even like Benavidez. I'm just saying a lot of people are... they want to see that fight.
Well, one fights for $2.5-3 million, and one fights for $53 to $55 million. So I think they're in different hemispheres there.
Talking about what? Canelo's fight with Bivol?
He had $53 million.
Okay.
And the other guy gets $3 million. Remember, Canelo is running whatever fight he wants to. He's running boxing, and whatever fight he wants to be in. He's the boss. He's the money maker. Yeah,
be nice. It'd be nice if he wanted to fight like an Andrade or Benavidez. Especially Benavidez. Like, look, I don't even like Benavidez, but like a lot of people want to see that fight. He should do, the Mexican fans a solid one and make that fight happen for those fans.
It'll probably happen. Once his contract with Eddie's done, it'll probably happen.
Because it seems like, I don't know what's going on with Samson Lukowicz and Benavidez, but he can't seem to deliver Benavidez the big, massive fights. I know some of it is Benavidez's fault because of the cocaine and the weight issue. Like, I get all that, but you can't at least get him a plan.
Would you say that Dave Benavidez is known to be unruly? How would you like to plan a pay-per-view event around him fighting Canelo and he comes in overweight, or he's high on dope, or maybe he's on steroids? I don't know if he is, but he could be. I mean, he's too unruly. Too many unanswered questions.
Yeah. Well, they should at least try. All you can do is try, Rick. If the fans keep calling. I was in Vegas for the Plant Canelo fight week, and all I heard the whole week was Benavidez, 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 Benavidez.
Like I said, one's making $53 million and one's making $3 million. So it sounds like Benavidez needs Canelo and Canelo don't need Benavidez, but it's all right. Maybe he will eventually.
No, he don't need him, but the Mexican fans are the ones that want to.
We'll see what happens. What happens.
We see. Let me see. We got Benavidez is a bigger name than Yildirim Field. He is. H Money says George Kambosos snitched on Devin Haney.
That's all bullshit.
Yeah, you think that's all just like he just planned that up, the whole he's an informant thing? I thought it was funny. Funny.
Wait. It may be true. Who gives a shit?
Seriously. Yeah, it has no.
It's not about boxing.
It has
boxing
no bearing.
Business. It's not a clown show.
Yeah, it has no bearing on the fight anyway. Unless Devin gets emotional and. But really, all that matters is June the 4th. or June the 5th, whenever they fight over there. Seismic Galore says, what are your thoughts on the upcoming fight between Robeisy Ramirez and Abraham Nova? One of them is the next potential opponent for Emmanuel Navarrete.
I don't know who wins that fight. Ramirez boxes better, and Abraham Nova is super strong. I don't know who wins the fight. It's a tough fight. No matter who wins, it'll be a guy that deserves a big fight after that fight. No question about it. A world title fight with Navarrete is the big fight.
Yeah. What I know we talked about it earlier, Rick, but what do you think about Beterbiev versus Joe Smith Jr.?
I think Joe Smith Jr. can win. I think he's capable. Great puncher. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be a dog fight. He's very strong physically. It's a fight. It really is going to be a tough fight.
Beterbiev can box. He can punch. He can do it all. And he's as far as I'm concerned, he's boxing's knockout king. I mean, he's unified champion. He's 100% knockout ratio. You can't do much better than he's done.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree. But he's also like 37 or 38 years old now. I saw slippage in the Adam Dines fight. Yeah, he looked good against Marcus Brown, but what did Marcus Brown have left?
Yeah, Marcus Brown wasn't even great when he was in his quote unquote prime. I never rated Marcus Brown.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Well said. Well said.
Shady Slim wants to know, Rick, who should Deontay Wilder fight if he comes back?
Nobody. He should retire. Okay. There's no way after you went through 2 fights like that of beatings, you were face planted, and there'll be a lot left in the tank. But if he's to fight, I would fight somebody that's a non-puncher with no chin and he can knock out real quick, and at least get a payday, see how he looks, and go from there, and then step him up a little bit, bring him back gradually against a couple safe guys. Before I would keep him away. I wouldn't even allow him in the same building as Fury. They should have learned. They learned their lesson there, I think. Yeah.
So basically, what you're telling me is he should do the Gerald Washington rematch. That's what he should do. He should fight someone like a Gerald Washington type of fighter.
Dominic Brazil, something like that. Yes.
Yeah.
But not rematch, but somebody like that. Yeah. No chin and, doesn't move much, because I think he's going to be shot in myself.
Okay. Mitchell Fleming says, I was Demetrius Andre's sparring partner for years. Rick, he has plenty of legs left. I promise. He just lacks power to keep guys off of him. It took him 5 or more shots to the body in the same place to slow me down. Okay. Mitchell Fleming saying Andrew got the pop.
He doesn't have a lot of legs left. What's his name was all over him like a cheap suit in the second half of the fight because his legs went away. Lem Williams. So he doesn't have a lot of legs left. But keep going.
Okay. Shady Slim says Joyce got power. We know Joyce got power.
Joyce got power and a great jab.
I had a chance to watch him train in person, Rick. I had a chance to go to Vegas when I was in Vegas. I was at the Salas Boxing Academy. I never realized he was that tall. I knew he was tall. I didn't know he was like.
There's a reason why he doesn't look tall because his legs are real thick.
Yep.
And his shoulders are real wide, so you think he's shorter than he is. He's a big guy.
Yeah, when I saw him in person, I understood in that moment why they call him the Juggernaut. I don't know what it was like to see George Foreman in person, but I would assume George was kind of built like that, back in the day when he was fighting.
Yeah, Joe Joyce is a real deal. You don't see all the big names dying to fight him, do you?
No. I haven't heard Tyson Fury say I want to fight Joe Joyce or AJ say I want to fight Joe Joyce. I never heard them say
Joe Joyce. That's not going to happen because Joe Joyce and Tyson Fury are both promoted by Frank Warren, and Joe Joyce cannot be the attraction that Fury's become. So they're not going to make that fight. They're just not going to. Don't forget, Joyce is like 35 or 36 years old.
Yeah. He's no spring chicken.
They're not going to make that fight. That won't happen.
So if they're not going to make Fury, and he probably won't get Joshua, like what kind of fight could he get? Maybe like a Hrgovic type of fight?
Who?
Joe Joyce.
He'll probably end up fighting for like the BO title with Usyk. He'll probably fight Usyk or something like that. Usyk and Joe Joyce is a good fight. That's a very good fight.
It is because you got the physical strength of Joe Joyce. You know, his juggernaut ways with the boxing craft of a Usyk. That's a beautiful fight.
Yep. No question about it. Listen, we got 7 minutes to go. Anybody who wants to follow me on Twitter, it's at Real Rick Glaser, the number 1. So there's several fake Rick Glaser accounts out there, but I've got about 4,300 followers. You'll read my stuff, and I'm the Real Rick Glaser 1.
He's there, and he's always shooting it from the hip. He's always telling it like it is, and even though I don't always agree with Rick, I always enjoy his perspectives on boxing because this man's been around. He's in the field every day, from supplying to sparring partners to dealing with these dumbass managers nickel and diming their fighters. He goes through it all.
No, he's not. They're not nickel and diming their own fighters. They're nickel and diming the sparring
themselves.
Partners and stuff like that. Yeah, it's because it's nuts. I mean, they go and spend. I had one guy that I heard that they spent, $100,000 on I'm not going to mention the name, steroids and stimulants and protein and all kinds of stuff, right? Okay, and like I said, they're nickel and diamond on this bar. He said, "What are you doing that for? You want maximum performance, right?" Oh yeah, well that's why you want the best sparring partners. The guy doesn't want 1,000 a week. He wants 1,200. Let's try to give it to him. Jesus, no, stick to the 1,000. Okay. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I don't know. Dundada asks, Rick, why was everyone on Twitter giving you a hard time about David Diamante's crash?
Because I defended him. I mean, why would he make something up? I mean, it's like that. It's ridiculous. He wasn't asking people for money. It wasn't like he was a scam. He was asking people for money. He never asked anybody for any money. And it was ridiculous. And I defended the guy. And everybody says, "Oh no, that they check with the New York City police." Oh, come on, please.
Listen, I've met David a couple of times. I don't know him probably as well as you do, but David strikes me as the kind of guy that he really loves what he does, and I don't see him making up a reason to not be at fights announcing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well said. Thank you.
Hyro says, do you think Usyk can get knocked out, judging from Usyk being 35 and the damage his face when he fought AJ the first time?
I don't understand the question.
I don't understand the question either. Is Usyk's not 35? Oh, he's 35. Okay, I thought he was a little younger. But I think he's saying, do you think Usyk will get knocked out due to his age? I'm just gonna say that. Yeah.
I don't think it's due to his age.
I don't know.
If he gets knocked out, he'll get caught with a good one.
The real boss wants to know from you, Rick. He says, how will Teofimo Lopez do at 140?
He'll beat a lot of the guys, but I don't see him beating I don't see him beating the really, really good fighters. He will become a world champion again. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's going to do really well with the really good fighters. He doesn't box well enough.
So you're saying like the Zepedas?
He's not ring smart. He doesn't box well enough, and he seems to fall apart at times. Completely fall apart.
He's very much a fighter that he fights on emotion. If he's feeling good and his swag is on 1,000, then you're in trouble. But if you can kind of
it sounds like Edgar Berlanga.
Yeah, but now he's much better than Edgar Berlanga. But yeah, it's the same type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about a guy, Berlanga, man. Top Rank has a serious job on their hands trying to make him champion. Oh my gosh. The guy won't throw any feints. He hasn't learned how to feint. He won't throw a feint to save his life. He doesn't know how
to. If he can't get a guy out there with a punch, he don't know how to break a guy down. That's a real problem. Listen, we got 3 minutes to go. Okay, so one quick story.
Ready? Go ahead, Rick. Go ahead.
So I was earlier tonight. I was out, and a guy sees me, and he goes to me. I go, "I know who you are." I go, "Who am I?" He says, "I got a nickname for you." I said, "What's my nickname?" He says, meaning D-A, the legendary OG. And I said to him, I said, "How do you know that?" He goes, "Oh, I know." I said, "Okay, well, as long as you know." I said, "Much respect to you. Thanks for the nickname." So now I'm going to be the The legendary OG.
Okay, I'll start referring to you as that. The legendary OG, Rick Glaser.
If I was a rapper, it'd be a hell of a name, wouldn't it?
It would be. It'd be a great name. You could get your nice little gold chain, get you a do-rag. You know, go to the bad part of Buffalo. You fit right in.
Oh yeah, no question. Listen, it's been a pleasure. It's been way too long. Like to be on again shortly. You always ask great questions, but you got a little slow tonight. You need to start running too, about 5 miles a day.
Yeah, well, yeah. Okay.
How's your dad doing?
My dad as well. He had a heart attack in the middle of last year. Yeah, in the middle of last year, but he's been getting better, so he's good now.
Okay, prayers to your dad. I hope full recovery. I hope, and I hope he's watching what he's eating. Yeah. I make sure if I can help him monitor what he's eating, I help him with that. So, well, thanks for having me tonight. You're gonna put this up on YouTube tonight?
It's gonna be up as soon as I'm done.
Well, and why don't you hang it on my Facebook wall? Or no, you know what? Why don't you text it to me? And no, I can get it down off YouTube, right? And put it. Yeah, I can do it. Yeah. On my Facebook, because if you put it on my Facebook, people they don't see it. I gotta see it. I don't think they see it. I think I gotta put it up there.
Yeah, you put it up. You put it up there.
I will.
Okay. I'll get you the link, and you can do all that.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure, like always. Looking forward to meeting you someday in person. Well, hopefully our lives will cross.
I still need that group for sandwich, man.
100%. You got it.
All right.
You're gonna have 2 of them. Wait, hold on. Let me say, maybe a 1.5 with inflation the way it is. Maybe you have 1.5. Yeah. Enjoy, buddy. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure, like always. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy your night. Bye-bye now.
All right. Thank you. All right, so there you have it. That was Rick Glaser. Listen, he's been doing all these other channels over the years, over the last year or so. I've been seeing him on a lot of channels. And I've been wanting to get him on the channel for a long time, back on the channel, because if for those of you that don't know, me and Rick go way back. I've been interviewing Rick since like 2018, so it was good to have him back on here. I want to start doing more of this. I'm gonna try to get another guest tomorrow for you guys, because I know like you guys do enjoy the lives of me and Pops, but you can't just see me and Pops all the time. We gotta do these world-class interviews so you guys can get more than just me and my dad sitting in this room talking. Get people like Rick. Get people like some of these fighters. So tomorrow, I'm not sure who tomorrow's guest will be, but I'm gonna make some phone calls, and we will have somebody on here tomorrow. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you guys for the continuous support of the channel. Continue to subscribe. Continue to support Shady Slim, man. Good to see you. I don't really be seeing your name in the chat as much, but I respect you. Me and you go way back. Keep doing your thing. Good to see you. But yeah. You guys continue to support the channel. I really want to do right by this channel, and we're going into the month of June, so I'm making it a point to get as many guests on this channel as possible. So hold me accountable to it, guys. I'm gonna do it, but hold me accountable to it as well. And yeah, tomorrow I'll be live again with whoever. I don't know who I'm gonna have tomorrow, so just stay tuned for that. You guys take care. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.